Hey everyone, TimaeuSS. Welcome to another Artery Gear video. So this is the October roadmap. It's a bit late because we're coming into October next week. However, there is a lot to unravel here. And what I'm going to do is hopefully offer my advice on the poll recommendations because I think a lot of us are really dry after the Madoka collaboration, pretty much nothing left. So let's take a look at what banners are available to us starting in October. So first thing, we'll have the Kagura banner into the charcoal feather. I think this is the, oh I forgot, it's the harpist lady. The Bellona equivalent from E7. She offers AoE defense down, and I forgot her name because she's just never used. She honestly is so bad. I've never seen her used properly, so yeah, there's just way better units out there, so that's fine. We can forget about her. And then we have Alma. Wow, Alma very early, I think. With the AoE revive into Yui. I think these two banners will be running alongside each other because it says October, mid-October, and that's the 10th chapter, which will be introduced in Yui. And this is when the story gets super crazy, and I think reaches godlike level. So if you haven't been reading the story, do check it out from chapter 8 onwards. You can really just quickly skim chapter 1 to 7, but chapter 8, starting in chapter 8, is really amazing. So we've got 4 banners. I'll touch on the banners later on, but we also have the rerun of Shura and Cream, plus the Union Order, which is the battle pass for Kagura skin. So first things first, let's talk about the banners, because I think that is the main thing we all care about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 banners in a month. Wow, I know a lot of you probably think, holy crap, this is insane. However, I actually think October is going to be a fantastic month for us, and let me tell you why. Okay, 6 banners means 6 events worth of resources, right? This is actually crazy because back in CN we would have 2 weeks event and then 1 week break. Later on, obviously, we didn't have breaks, but this is 6 event into 1. You'll get a ton of pull currencies from this, as well as rewards such as recast and whatnot. So all 6 events in a single month, I personally think is fantastic in terms of resources. And actually, I'll let you know why, because we don't need to pull all of them at all. So the one key thing we get from this is we're not going to have the Frames Arm Girl collaboration in October. This is, in my opinion, great because we do need some downtime between the Madoka collaboration as well as the Frame Arms Girl, right? But because we have all these events getting rerun, new events, and everything crammed together, this will give you enough to pity Stylet when Stylet comes in November, for example. So you're secured Stylet. Okay, this is awesome to see. Because, you know, Stylet is actually a decent counter, RNG counter to Madoka if built very bulky, while being able to dish out a lot of damage. So breaking down the banners, we can ignore the Shura and the Cream rerun because they're in the exchange. If you really wanted them, you could have grabbed them from there. So the Cream and the Ashura rerun is basically for resources, and also if you haven't picked up Chihaya, go ahead. The other 4, we can ignore the charcoal feather because that unit is just not used at all. Okay, Kagura, in my opinion, when she was first released, she was a raid beast, and also she was used in PvP. But because we got Madoka early, I don't see Kagura being used much at all in PvP. Unless you're one of those min-max players who pull Kagura for purely the lifesteal and attack buff. When she was released, she was paired up with Ryza and she was fantastic. But because we're getting Alma next, I really don't think we are going to care about Kagura that much for PvP. So if you're a raid focused player or if you're a super whale, I still think you should add Kagura. She is still decent, but obviously the unit to grab is Alma. Okay, Alma has an AoE revive with attack buff, just makes her insane. And because we don't have that many core breakers just yet, Alma is going to be fantastic. Of course, when Stylet comes, she'll be able to prevent revives, but until then, Alma, I think, is fantastic. And of course, with the chapter 10 Yui is my favorite character in the game, bar none. She's absolutely my personal favorite, and I'll be R6ing my Yui no matter what. Like, I'm just gonna R6 Yui because it's my favorite character in the game. So with Yui, my recommendations is if you're not a super whale, you actually don't need to pull Yui, because later on we know, because it's a quiet month in October, we can expect Stylet in November, and if we see chapter 11, it's going to be Claris. So my recommendation is save and don't pull Yui. If you absolutely have to, go for Alma in the banner. But if you're saving for Claris, you can skip Alma altogether. So basically, you can skip every single banner in October if you really wanted to, and secure Stylet 100%, right? But my recommendation is still, if you care about PvP at higher levels, especially with GVG, you should grab Alma and even consider Yui. But for the average player, honestly, I would just skip everything, bar Alma potentially. And the reason why I'm asking people to not consider Yui is because Homura got released very early. So Yui had her time to shine in CN because there was no Homura to prevent the extra turn. Her kit allows her to cut in every time the enemy doesn't cast an attacking move, so she gets really fast turn cycles. It works on her own units as well, so in race she's fantastic, and that's why she's really good. However, with the release of Homura, it prevents that mechanic altogether, and she isn't able to cut, which means that you kind of force a Homura defense, but still. Later on, she gets replaced completely by Ayame, or you can run both together against non-Homura teams and just destroy them. But because Homura is released, Yui is very negatively impacted by the Homura. So you can skip her if you're free-to-play player saving for Stylet. So that's the banner situation. And then looking at the other things, we'll get again Michelle's unique equipment, Cream's unique equipment, Alliance exercise, which I guess is good for stamina, and Dark Zone level 7. So the only thing notable here is the Cream's unique equipment with, of course, the Cream rerun. Cream's unique equipment is actually pretty damn good. It gives her debuff removal, so she gets to remove debuffs on top of applying immunity with her kit. However, I think it's a bit too late. She's going to be great in PvP, in PvE, if you do need that debuff removal, but in PvP, the times have changed. It's the magical girl show now. So yeah, it's good to have, but there'll be better things later on, like such as Ashura unique equipment or Benny unique equipment, and later on Bifrost. So this is the schedule. My prediction is going to be that because the developers said they wanted to push banners out so people can grab the meta units for RTA and for eventually global GVG and global RTA, which I personally don't agree with that much, because, you know, resource is going to be very stressed. But anyhow, in terms of the next month's banner, I'm going to predict that we will see Claris if we're going to get chapter 11. We will see Bifrost, because Bifrost gives two extremely strong units that after unique equipment just turns bonkers, Isabel and Victoria. So I think this October will give us quite a month to save while we approach a very strong November lineup. So that's my recommendations, and hopefully this was clear enough in terms of what we can expect, how we should save. But just know that you'll be able to secure Stylet if Stylet is being run in November because of all the rerun. And yeah, hopefully everyone gets her, and I'll see you guys in the next video.